Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Timmy335 with you here today. And as you can see, I got the coach creation for my Dynasty that I'm going to be doing on this channel. And as you're about to see, I'm naming my coach Mel Gibson. And you may wonder why. Well, all I got to say is once I switched to large 5, look at that. Doesn't that look like exactly like Mel Gibson? Like, seriously? Except for the hair, maybe. It looks exactly like him to me. So I just found that one day and decided to name my coach Mel Gibson next time I did a Dynasty, and it just so happens to be during my YouTube Dynasty. And I switched to my custom playbook so I could possibly have a better chance of winning, because the other playbooks are alright, but mine's awesome. And as you saw there, I switched to All-American. I know. Don't worry, I eventually switched to Heisman difficulty. And there is the spoiler alert. I'm doing an Akron Dynasty on this channel. I didn't really want to do a UTSA, Texas State, or UMass Dynasty. Didn't really feel like doing the same thing that a couple other commentators are already doing. I'm sure somebody's out there doing an Akron Dynasty right now. But Akron is the one I feel like I want to do. I am from Ohio. I live in Ohio. So I felt like it would just be cool to have a Ohio school as my building block. I didn't really want to do a team that I didn't know anything about or wasn't any kind of attached to, I guess. And I felt like Akron was a perfect team. They're bad. They're from Ohio. So it'd just be cool for me to make an Ohio team really good eventually, other than Ohio State. So there you go. Jawan Chisholm's my best player. 81 overall. Wow. And everybody else that's good behind him, under him, they're mostly juniors and seniors. So I have got a ton of work to do in terms of recruiting and the prestige. Hopefully I can get my prestige up this year, at least one. But there is no way. My quarterback is 66 overall. There's no way I'm going to be able to do anything, like any kind of positive with that like I want to. So definitely I'll have to try and force my way into a couple of prospects' hearts. Hopefully they'll want to come to Akron, because there is no way with the kind of people that actually want to come to Akron that I'm going to be successful. That being said, I'd just like you guys to know, you guys are going to see it later in the video, but I went to recruit and I had probably, I don't know, maybe 3 people that wanted to come to my school, where it has the little green circle, like they want to come to my school. So definitely a lot of work there. And that all starts with as you see there, I switched my strategy thing, the computer animation, not animation, but their automation. I changed everything to off. I know some people like to keep it on, some of it, but I like to do everything myself. I like to think that I do a better job than the computer does. And yeah, that's about it to that. So I had a strategy. I looked at my pipeline states, and I saw that I had Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. I feel like all 3 of those are pretty good states to have as pipeline states, but I wanted to add a 4th one. So I wanted to choose either California, Florida, or Texas. I figured Florida wasn't good, because Ohio State's already kind of in Florida all the time anyway. Not to mention now with Urban Meyer as their coach, that has nothing to do with it in this game, but even more so, they're in Florida all the time. Pipeline is Florida. I've got Florida University, a 6-star school. Florida State, a 6-star school. Alabama and Georgia all have pipelines in Florida. So I figured I didn't want to compete against that many good schools for prospects with Akron. I mean, I could, but it probably wouldn't turn out well, and I'd get frustrated. So even though there's a lot of good people that come out of Florida, decided to skip. So I did end up choosing Texas, simply because there's basically only 2 schools that are like major that would interfere with my recruiting. That would be Texas University, obviously the Longhorns, and TCU, the Horned Frogs. Now, they're both 6-star schools, so I'm still going to have a little bit of resistance, but I'd rather have 2 6-star schools than 3 6-star schools and a million 5-star schools like Florida is. And I also have probably SMU, and maybe Houston to deal with as well, but I'm not nearly as worried with them as I would be with the Florida pipeline. So that's basically what you're seeing here is what I sped it up a little bit as I'm going through each state and trying to get 4 people in each so I can keep my main pipelines that I already had. And then I'm going to try and get a couple, like 4 or 5, maybe 6, I can't remember, people from Texas. Get some people from Texas, recruit them. Hopefully they'll come to my school and I'll be able to have 4 pipelines, all in really, really, really good states. So that would be nice, obviously. And I'm not far enough yet into the Dynasty. I don't know how it's going to work yet. But hopefully it works out well. But back to what you're seeing on the screen here. I did recruit a 4-star quarterback that's 73 overall. He's not 0% scouted, of course, but I'm recruiting all these people, hoping that one of them will want to come to my school, obviously. I got the main people I needed already on my recruiting board, so at this point, I'm trying to get like lockdown people that'll definitely come to my school in the Texas one so I could get that added and stuff. But after I get all the people that I need and all the 4 people per state that I need, I just the remaining 4 people because I like to have 20 people. In case you guys didn't know, I like to have 20 people, spend an hour on each for scouting in the preseason so I could just have an even hour on each. It's just something I like to do. And then that's basically it. I don't like to have more than 20 because I feel like you won't be able to spend as much time on the people you want. Like the first interest, you could spend 30 minutes on each, or you could spend 30 minutes on everybody each and you'll be good. I mean, I feel like 30 is good. But then you could also do 20 minutes on a first interest or 10 minutes on a first interest, and that leaves you where you could go, say, 40, 50 to an hour on a prospect that's not so high on you, and that makes 20 like the perfect number for scouting and recruiting, even though you only get 3 hours during the regular season for scouting per week, so it kind of makes scouting a little bit harder, I suppose, but I still think 20 is a good achievable amount for any team in Dynasty. But this is also, as you can probably see or you already know, unless you don't have this game, this is new this year to NCAA 13. The scouting, usually it wouldn't even tell you overalls, I don't believe. It would just tell you what stars they were, and then when they got on your team, they would tell you what overalls they are. But now you actually have to scout them and see what overall they are before they come to your school to know. Else you could be scouting. You could send somebody a scholarship and it'll say they're 80 overall, and there's a big possibility that, not big, but there's a possibility that when they actually come to your school, if you didn't scout them, they could be like 65. I mean, that's very unlikely that they're going to go down 15, but it's possible. It's happened before when I've scouted people. So it makes it so you had to scout the people and see how good they actually are, which is, I think, really good because it makes it a lot more realistic. I mean, you don't just see a guy on tape in real life or see his 40 times and be like, yeah, this is the guy who won 100%. He's going to be awesome. Like, it just doesn't happen. So even though it is kind of annoying when the people that you're scouting, like that Chad Thomas guy, when they go down like that, when you're expecting them to be pretty good, it is frustrating, but oh well. I like it still because, like I said, it makes it realistic. But you can see that I've got a lot of busts and -1s and -2s, and I've got like 1 gem, I think, maybe, and it's like a 60 overall, like +6. So, yeah, Akron does not have the best recruiting of all time for certain. And probably in the upcoming videos, it's going to continue. I mean, there ain't really much I can do about it. I wish Akron was a little bit better, but that's the challenge. I like it. The challenge of just screwing around and having bad recruiting classes and having to fight tooth and nail scrap to win games. It's just all fun for me. But my schedule stays exactly the same, except for that I don't want to play FCS people. So I figured that Arkansas State would be a pretty good challenge for me. They're like 79 overall. I got Michael Dyer, who's like, 96 overall. So, yeah. But that's basically it, guys. As you see there, I'm advancing to the next week, which is week 1. I'll see you guys there.